That's awesome. We got, I was talking to John Shiivo today. He says he skates with you a few times.
Oh yeah. He's the roller hockey guy, right?
Yeah, he's the roller guy. He said,
Yeah. I got to look him up online. I heard his roller hockey. He's some of the best, does some of the best stuff in the world.
He's one of the best. He said you won $5 off him.
I did. Yeah. We did a little shooting competition, and CJC shows me like 10s, but he hasn't showed up since.
Oh, he needs to pay up.
Yeah. But
We'll get CJ on here as well, get that Maverick connection flowing, but we'll get started here, and then I'll just keep admitting people as we go. But I wanted to thank everybody for coming on. Looks like we got about 62 of our members right now on. And so, Teddy, if you don't know a ton about us, we're a community of hockey players that train every single day, and most days, I'd say. And our big hashtag is do the work. And so we're excited to have you come on. For those of you that don't know him, Teddy Blueger, he's born in Riga, Latvia. Played some youth hockey and prep hockey at Shattuck St. Mary's. Played at the greatest college in the world, Minnesota State University. He was a member of the Latvia World Junior team and also played for the World Championships. Second round draft pick of the Pittsburgh Penguins, current member of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I think he's geared up to have his best season ever coming up. So everyone, maybe give some claps. I know you're all muted, but maybe claps for Teddy here.
What an intro. Thanks, Peter.
Absolutely. Cool. So we're just doing a little question and answer, and everybody right now, if you don't get your question in, you can email me a question after, and I'll get them to Teddy as soon as I can, and he'll kind of respond at his leisure. But appreciate everybody coming in. We will cut this off at 5:30 sharp. So we'll probably take the last question at like 5:26-ish and kind of go from there. The way we'll do the questions, and I've thought this through, so I think the best way is that the only thing, I'm seeing a lot of stuff in the chat, but it's a lot of Let's Go Penguins. We got some Leafs fans, but that's all right. In the chat is where you're going to be able to post your questions. So you can I'll start reading. I'll read them off to you, Teddy, and then you can answer away. So questions are on the chat. As they're doing that, I did actually get one from a member beforehand, and I actually like it. So we'll go through a few of these. So first question, this is from Brendan. He couldn't make it tonight. He's on the ice skating. But his question was, why did you choose number 53?
53. I actually didn't choose it at all. Usually when you first sign and you come into the team for your first camp, they just kind of assign a number to you. So that was my camp number. And then obviously wore a different number in the minors. But when I got called up to Pittsburgh, that was kind of my number that was just assigned to me. And I just kind of stuck with it. I kind of learned to like it, I guess, at first. And obviously it's kind of pretty unusual, but I mean, I thought the first year I was up, it worked out pretty well for me, so I kind of stuck with it. But I think maybe they were thinking like usually they gave rookies like higher numbers that most guys wouldn't take. So I think at Mankato I was 23, so they just gave me 53. That's somewhat similar, I guess. The 3 similar, so maybe that's the thought process there. But yeah, kind of just stuck with it and learned to love it.
Was there any reason behind the 23 at college?
Not really, no. 23. I was always 21 growing up because Peter Forsberg was my favorite player. So all the way through high school, I was always 21. And then when I got to Mankato, 21 was taken. So there's 23, 9, and a couple other open ones. And 23 just kind of resonated the most with me, I guess. So
right on. Love that. Cool. One more from Brendan here. I know he couldn't make it, but he asked, what do you feel like when you're on the ice in an NHL hockey game? Like, what's that feeling like? Because I know a lot of the guys and girls in this chat, that's one of their goals.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just like with any level, the first shift, first couple of games, it's a lot of energy, a lot of adrenaline that you're feeling. It's kind of, the big rinks that are packed, usually it's kind of like a little bit of a hollow noise, like kind of on the ice where you can hear the crowd, but you can really distinctly hear everything that's going on in between the benches and on the ice. And it's just, the first little bit, like you're just very, very wired. feel like, your attention is like right there.
Right.
But I mean, it's awesome. I think obviously a little different in the bubble without the crowd, but I think, pretty much all the games are packed or close. So, great atmospheres. It's just, I mean, the other thing I'd say is like the intensity level is really high. I think, even compared to lower levels, like even in the minors, it's kind of a win at all cost mentality. So, it's tough to summarize the feeling. I guess over time you kind of adapt and get used to it a little bit, but it is a lot of fun and a very, very cool experience.
It's awesome. Hopefully some of our members will get to experience that one day.
Yeah.
Cassidy asked, pregame meal.
Pre-game meal, the last little bit has been a salad, a bunch of veggies in there, and just olive oil on it. And then I do pasta with some olive oil and salmon, actually, and a little bit of tomato sauce in there.
Right on. A little salad. Okay, Lucy. Let's see if you know this one. How many goals do you have? I'm assuming that maybe means in the NHL or maybe lifetime. Let's go NHL.
Not true lifetime. NHL, I got 15.
15. So just a matter of time you'll get to that 20 mark. That's awesome. Charlie, what do you do to get better at shooting?
Shooting, I mean, the biggest thing is probably taking reps. I think like the older you get, the more aware you are of the different types of shots, different positionings, and kind of work on things that you're weaker at. So obviously, whether it's like one-timers or trying to catch and release quick or just skating down the ice shooting, I think you kind of got to identify your weaknesses. And for the most part, once you figure that out and you figure out the correct technique that you're going after, the specific shot you're trying to improve, it's just repetition from there.
Got to put the work in. Do you have one right now that you're focusing on for the summer?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of like catching. So when you catch it soft on your forehand, then you drag it in a little bit, kind of. That one, I think one timer has always been kind of the last couple of years been a little bit of an emphasis for me as well. I mean, most of my shots, or at least the dangerous ones, aren't for very far out. So I won't usually wind up for a one timer. I'll just kind of go either really small wind up or no wind up at all, and try to use the flex in my stick to rip it in there.
What flex do you use?
So I kind of been playing around with it a lot. I was always 85, and I used 75 the last 2 years. But
Okay.
now I'm going back to 95. So it's kind of, I don't know. Sticks are always evolving and changing. So I've been playing around with some different sticks and doing different things, try to tweak the little details and find something that works best. So I think this, over the past little bit here that I've been using, the 95 I like a lot.
And that's interesting too. You didn't really talk about the big slap shot. You talked about just quick releases, getting that puck off quick. And a lot of times you see young athletes today they want to work on that big slap shot, but you guys and girls that are in this chat, you gotta take something from that comment that, someone that's playing at the highest level is working on those little tiny quick shots that allow pucks to get to the net a little bit quicker. So
yeah, I think that's a big thing too. I mean, when I think about it, the 75 flex is probably, I find, where my shot is almost the hardest, but it takes me a lot longer time to load it up and get it off. So I think if I think about where my goals are coming from or where I'm getting my scoring chances, it's all pretty in tight around the net. So I don't necessarily need to have a super hard shot to score. I just need to be able to get it off quickly and accurately and be able to shoot from kind of uncomfortable positions or under pressure, things like that. So it's more about quickness for me than necessarily power.
Love that. Beckett says, "Go Mavs." Carson, Carson asked, do you have any pregame superstitions?
Yeah, it's kind of, I'd say for the most part, game day is kind of one big routine where, I'm almost on autopilot most of the day, way I get dressed, what time I go to the rink, what time I come back, the time that I nap, time I go back to the rink. Obviously pregame meal is the same most of the time. So I guess it's kind of all one big superstition, maybe. I don't know.
Do you ever put your tooth in? Is that a thing?
No, no. I hardly put it in since quarantine. I'm wearing a mask everywhere, so it doesn't matter because no one would see it.
That's
So
true. I saw
should have put it in for tonight, though.
no, it's a hockey player look. I saw on a billboard the other day that it said this is the best time to get braces because everyone's wearing a mask. I thought that was pretty funny.
True. Yeah.
I knew this one was coming. Riker is asking, what is it like playing with Crosby?
That's great. That was cool. It's kind of a weird transition, obviously, when you walk in the room and the first time, and there's a whole lot of stars, him, Malkin, Letang, and among others. But I think the best part about Sid is that he's just kind of a regular guy, and obviously he's the best player in the world, but he takes the time to come up to the new guy, like when I just first got there, and ask me how I'm doing, just, talk for a couple minutes, spend the time, kind of make me feel a little more at ease, a little more comfortable. So I think that kind of helps, and he's just kind of one of the guys, doesn't really get any special treatment or ask for any of that, which is awesome. I think, he's obviously a great player and super easy to get along with and great in the room. So it's pretty cool having a front row seat to like some of the stuff he does in the game. And I've been fortunate enough to actually sit next to him at home in our locker room. So it's pretty cool to talk hockey with him, obviously, and during the game, like he notices some details that I don't even think to look for and things like that. So it's definitely a great opportunity to learn, and cool to be around him.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have an example of those like little things that he noticed or said something to you that was like, I know we're in the middle of an off season that seems like forever, but if you can think.
Yeah, so usually leading up to a game, like by the time we get to the rink for game day, there's on the screen or on the TV in the locker room, they're just playing clips of goals that the opposition's goalie has given up recently. So all different types of goals, like one-timers, breakaways, whatever, try to identify like his weaknesses and stuff like that. And I forget who we were playing, but the goalie, it was like a play from the corner up front, and Sid noticed how when the goalie's against this post, there's like a gap up by like probably his calf to knee area. There's like a little gap over there. And I know he scored a bunch of goals from like behind the net or right side of the net. So he was like, he kind of notices like how the goalie's setting up, how he's shifting from side to side, and the holes that open up with that.
Details. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. Corbin asked, what do you do in the bubble to keep busy? Like, what'd you do during that time to keep busy?
So we actually had a really nice hotel. We were right by BMO Field there, which is I think the CFL team plays there. The Toronto MLS team plays there. So it's like a big football, soccer stadium. So they had soccer nets out there, footballs, spike balls, all kinds of outdoor activities like that. They had a bunch of tennis courts at our hotel. So we actually got pretty into tennis. Guys would be there on an off day all day playing each other, doing like tournaments. It's like tennis and spike ball were kind of the big two that probably we spent our time doing. So, I mean, kind of in a way playing other sports mostly.
Yeah.
During our free time.
Who's the best spike ball player on the team?
Oh, the best spike ball player on the team. I don't know. That's a tough one. Tana was pretty good. It's pretty quick. So he gets a lot of balls. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So Bo asked, how's Crosby? We talked about that. Noah asked what it's like in the NHL. We talked about that. Joey Mullins, what's your playing style like?
That's a tough one. I think my playing style, I guess, has been probably more the last little bit more like defensive forward, I guess. But I think I'm in a spot where I'm trying to work on getting more scoring in, being more of a goal scorer, being able to contribute more points, and working on my offensive game. So I think kind of how I broke into the league was being reliable defensively and good penalty killer, good defensively, being able to play in all situations, PK, 4-on-4, things like that. But I think I'm trying to take my game to the next level and then kind of add an offensive side of scoring goals and making plays.
Love that. Hatcher asks, how can you get better at skating?
That's a good question. I think it gets a little tough as you get older. Things like that, or once you've been skating for the whole time growing up, you're kind of set in your ways. So the older you get, the harder it is to change. But I think the key is having a good coach and good guidance that can teach you the right principles and make sure your form's good. Your edges, you're in control of your edges, things like that. But like once it's kind of like a bit with shooting, once you identify kind of what you need, it's at that point it's just doing the reps and doing the work. And it's kind of like anything else, like learning how to tie a shoe. It's like the first time you try to tie a shoelace, it's like you can't do it, but the more you practice, the easier it gets, things like that. So I think that kind of goes along with just about any skill in life, but especially with skating or shooting or any skills in hockey.
For sure. Daniel and Garrett, what was it like playing in the bubble? I mean, you talked a little bit about off-season, beginning of the call, you talked a little bit about the bubble, but what was that whole experience like? That's something that only this year has gone through.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll stay that way. I mean, it was okay. Obviously, preferably wouldn't have to do it again, but it's a lot different without the crowd and the energy in the building. And I think the intensity was still there, probably not at the same level as it would have been with fans, but it's just kind of a little bit dead and kind of quiet, which is unusual. I mean, the other thing is that was very unusual is that, all the teams were split up into a couple hotels. So you're at the hotel and you're constantly running into guys from different teams, or, you could be playing against a team later that night and you end up in the same elevator or things like that. That was a little weird. And,
yeah.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's tough kind of for everyone, I think. But I think they did a good job with like finding activities and stuff for us. I don't know, but it was definitely a lot different.
Yeah. Hopefully it does stay that way. Hopefully that's our last one. We'll kind of lump these two together. Giacint, I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, and Ethan both asked kind of how do you become a good hockey player, and Ethan asked what you do in the off season to stay ready, like get ready and train for the season.
Yeah, so in the off season, I think as far as like working out and stuff, I get a pretty customizable program from one of our trainers in Pitt. So he's obviously with me all year and he knows my weaknesses and stuff, and kind of work on that. It's not so much heavy lifting, but more focusing on like proper muscle activation, good mobility, trying to increase my range of motion and my hips and shoulders, things like that. So that's mostly that. I do some yoga, a little bit of Pilates too to go along with that. And as far as skating, I mean, kind of a mix. There's obviously a lot of good players up in the cities in the off season, so there's a lot to choose from. But I'll do some skates where it's mostly scrimmage, because I think it's important. Like no matter how much skill work you do, you got to be able to translate it in the kind of a game-like scenario. So obviously scrimmage is different than actual game in the summer, but that's as close as you can get, so that you can try to apply some of that stuff. And then the other stuff is either working with certain coaches or different guys going out there and working on skill stuff, like getting a lot, like you said, like that skating or shooting stuff. Like at this point, you kind of know what you need to work on and stuff. So just getting out there and getting those extra reps and in the summer as much as you can, because during the season you don't get a ton of practice time.
For sure. This one from Des Christopher, I'm sure it's Liam on here. He asked, what was your time like at Shattuck St. Mary's?
Shattuck was awesome for me. I loved it. Obviously I didn't know anyone going in, wasn't really sure what to expect, but I thought the coolest part is you're always with your friends, and when you first get there, basically the whole class, it's like each grade is roughly around 100 people. So, and almost everyone's new at that point in ninth grade. So, you're there to go to school and play your sport. So it doesn't take long to bond with your buddies. And, it's cool how compared to where I came from, you're always with your friends and you're living with them, going to school, then you're going to practice, they're on your team. So there's just a lot in common. And I think everyone kind of had more or less the same goal to get to the next level and to get to the NHL. So that was something that I think was good that we all shared, and it made it very competitive, and I think helped us get better at hockey too.
For sure. It's an unbelievable program that they got going there. So Amy is asking, where were you in squirt level hockey, and did you make the A team?
So yeah, sport level, I would have been playing in Latvia, and it's a lot different over there. There's a lot less people, a lot less kids that play hockey. So I guess it would have been the A team, but there's only, I think when I was growing up, there's probably like 14, 15 teams total. And there was just a one level. So you all just kind of played each other. So we didn't really have tryouts or anything like that growing up.
So you made it.
Yeah, so I made the A team.
That's good. This is from Ace. Of all the training you did to prepare for the next level, what was the most important and the least important? That's a tough question.
That's a tough question. The least important, most important. Least important. I mean, I don't know how specific you could go, but I'd say like on the ice is probably some stuff that I did on the ice is probably most important. I think it's just overall just kind of the habit of working and putting in the extra work and things like that, but also some of the skill stuff. And I actually think when I think back, some of the best skills things that I've done that I apply to my game is like small area games and things like that, just where you're put into these situations where you have to make reads and quick decisions. Because I think ultimately that's the biggest difference, like in the NHL compared to even the minors. It's how quick you're able to read the game and make your next decision and make your next step. And that goes with the puck and without the puck. It's, reading your opponent, trying to anticipate. And with the puck, obviously it's like how you're going to beat them, who's open, where's the passing lane, speed, all kinds of stuff. It's kind of how quickly your mind can compute everything. So that's probably actually, I'd say, the most important. The least important, I mean, I wouldn't say working out, but I think in a way, you obviously need strength and you need to move well, and off ice stuff is really important. But I think the way the game is heading now is you don't see a lot of, like, the guys you see that are the top guys, like, they're not huge, they're not football players, they're not super strong. Like, yeah, they have strength, but the most important is that, they're able to move well, be loose on the ice, be elusive, be agile, be quick. So I'd say, I guess maybe some of the strength work would be probably the least important.
Yeah, I think you're right on there. Let's see. Evan asked about the daily workout routine. We talked about that. Hatcher asked about what you're doing to stay fit. We talked about that. Here's one from Bo. How'd you lose your tooth?
I got high sticked a couple years ago, and yeah, that was that.
Got it knocked out. What sport? This is from Beckett Larson. What sport would you play if you didn't play hockey?
Soccer, 100%. I
play.
What?
Not spike ball?
Not spike ball, no. Soccer. I played growing up till I was like 12 or 13 in the summers, and I watch a lot of it now. Love it. So
awesome. That kind of answers Dash's question. Dash has got the best hockey hair I've ever seen, but he asked if you played other sports. Was there anything else you played besides soccer?
Yeah, played a little bit of tennis. My parents put me in swimming, which I didn't like. Did a little bit of skiing and snowboarding. Lacrosse a little bit in high school. I think that would be it. Yeah.
The Adams family. Who's your favorite player to play with?
It's a good question. I mean, I think the obvious one is probably Sid, but I don't really play with him a whole lot. But it seems like every time I'm on the ice with him, it's a really good scoring chance for me. So he's obviously one of the guys that I've kind of played with a lot. I'd say probably Ryan Rust, just because he is really smart, makes great plays on offense, but he's also works extremely hard and really good defensively. So he's pretty easy to play with too.
Awesome. Okay, we got Kate Hansen. Could be from Jack. I don't know if it's Jack or Kate, but when did you know that you had a chance to make it to the NHL?
When did I know? I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe probably once I signed my first contract, I guess, at my first professional contract, I kind of knew, because I figured, if I didn't have any chance, why would they sign me?
Yeah.
But as far as knowing, I guess I always, I feel like inside I always knew I had what it takes to get there. It was just kind of, obviously took me a long time and stuff like that. But I guess I always believed, but when I knew for sure I had a decent chance, probably when I signed, I guess.
Got it. Love it. Okay, we got about 3 minutes left, everybody. So I know there's a lot of questions in this chat, but we can get those answered at another time. But we'll do a few more here. What is your favorite team to play against?
Favorite team to play against?
Quinn Nolan asked that.
That's a good question. Favorite team? Trying to think back on who I played well against.
Yeah,
not a lot that comes to mind. I don't know.
Maybe it's the St. Cloud Huskies. Maybe go back to college. We got some St. Cloud Husky fans in here. I know that.
No, I didn't like playing against St. Cloud for sure. I don't think we ever beat them actually.
Yeah, that's right.
but no, I don't know. Maybe I think maybe I'm thinking maybe teams that have great buildings. Like Vegas was fun. Playing in Vegas was awesome. They had a great atmosphere and crowd was super into it. I like playing Colorado actually. Colorado and Edmonton's fun too, just because they have McDavid and McKinnon, who are some of the best in the world. So I think, given my role, kind of more defensively, I got some matchups against them. So it's a great challenge. And, I think we had pretty good records against them this past year. So it's fun to beat those guys.
Right on. Okay, we're going to do 3 more questions. I'm just going to go in order of the chat, and then the rest I'll copy and paste and see if we can get ready to check into those. But 3 more. So what is the locker room like before a game?
The locker room before the game, I mean, once we get to the rink, it's, I guess, a little quieter mood maybe. But, we have our meeting and then we're playing soccer for a warm-up. So that's kind of always a fun atmosphere. There's, jokes flying, guys are kind of competing against each other. And then the closer it gets to game time, I guess, a little in the sense, the quieter it gets. But I mean, it's not like we're robots where everyone's like super serious. There's still jokes here and there, but probably toned down a little bit and just, guys are kind of getting themselves ready to go.
Love it. This one's a quick one, so it doesn't count. Jana asked, do you have any friends in the NHL? But maybe who your best buddy is on the team right now?
That's a good question too. Best buddy on the team, I'd probably say right now, Tristan Jarry. I've known him the longest, so he was there when I first signed in Wilkes-Barre, so we played together in Wilkes for probably over 3 years. Cool. So he's been a teammate of mine for 5 years now.
It's a good bond. Okay, 2 more. This is a tough question. So I think it's going to be this year, but it says, when was your breakout year and what did you do to get there?
Breakout year. I mean, it's tough to say. I guess maybe, hopefully this next year, but I guess one that you could say, from when I was in Wilkes-Barre, my first full year in Wilkes-Barre, I think I had 7 goals, and then the next year I had 21. So that was a pretty big jump, and it was kind of a combination of things that happened for me to get there. Obviously, work and putting time and getting better, but I think also it was kind of confidence, and halfway through the year, I scored a couple games in a row, so I started getting a little more opportunities, started getting on the power play, things like that, and my own confidence kind of grew, and with that combination of things and work, it kind of just elevated my game a little bit.
Huge. Okay, last one. I actually like this one to end on. It's from Ace again. He said, what is your personal goal for the upcoming hockey season?
My personal goal for the upcoming hockey season, that is a good one. Stuff I got a couple, but to narrow it, I guess to pick one would be to consistently be work my way to the third line center position.
Awesome. Okay. So before we let you go, Teddy, we appreciate you coming on. I know there's a ton more questions. I'm sure if we ask Teddy nice enough, and I'm sure he'll come back on down the road. But just want to say thank you very much. Obviously, time is valuable, and with the season looking like right around the corner, thanks for taking the time and talking to these guys. And that's kind of that. Unless you got any closing thoughts for the community here.
No, not really. Thanks for having me on. It was fun to be on. Looks like you have a really good thing going. So good luck to everyone this year. I guess I don't know how youth hockey is right now, if they're going to play or not, or what the situation is, but good luck and all the best.
Absolutely. Got a lot of people in the chat saying thank you. And yeah, that's all we got. So if everyone maybe just give a wave and thanks again, Teddy, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, man.
Absolutely. Everyone have a great night. Stay safe out there. And we'll check in on the app and make sure everyone's doing well. So take care, everybody.